Hello. Okay, guys, I'm going to try this again. But here's what I'm going to try to do. I think I'm going to go do question and answers over at Eric R. Weinstein on Instagram. And I'm just going to do a sort of a short video here so that if you guys want to join, it would be an absolute pleasure to walk with you and take questions and have conversations, which I like doing often better than monologues. But I just wanted to say a couple of things which are on my mind, which have to do in part with a very odd tweet that I saw today. And the very odd tweet was from Matt Iglesias over at Vox Media. And it had to do with the fact that he was taking responsibility, oddly, for having screwed up the idea that wokeness was a much more serious problem when taken to very extreme lengths, and that problem was not confined, as he had thought, to college campuses. So the old idea was, hey, it's a couple of kids with green hair, and you guys are getting incredibly bent out of shape about it, right? However, what was really going on is that college campuses and academics have a delayed effect. In fact, a lot of these ideas, like intersectionality, came out of UCLA. Unexamined privilege came out of Wellesley. Many of these things started in like either the late 70s, 80s, or early 90s. So a lot of what we talk about today is actually from academics. And it takes a while for this stuff to percolate. Now, I don't actually even believe that most of what's going on right now is peculiar to policing, to the United States, to race relations. Those all play into it, but I think that it's, in fact, like if you'd had somebody dying in immigration custody, we could have everyone in the streets over immigration rather than everyone in the streets over police brutality or racism. So Matt Iglesias was sort of opining that things had gotten really out of control and he was going to have to take responsibility that he'd actually gotten this stuff wrong. Well, somebody's writing boiling point. In some sense, what I was saying is it's a supersaturated environment and it doesn't take much to create a phase transition. You just need a nucleating event. And so we got a nucleating event, and now we're endlessly discussing the nucleating event rather than the supersaturated environment, which has to do with the fact that I don't think the people in our sense-making apparatus in the media and political parties and academics are either brave. They're not both brave and smart. If they're one, they're not the other, and very often they're neither. So, what does this have to do with shame? Because shame was in the title. Well, I want to launch a thought with you guys, and I'll develop it maybe on the podcast, which is, are we in the middle of a worldwide shame fetish? Is there something about our phones that have actually activated our bizarre sort of fetishistic thought processes so that we are taking part in some incredibly weird game? And I was thinking about Narcissus and Echo. I guess Ovid was the one who sort of augmented the Narcissus myth to include Echo, who falls in love with the beloved, but the beloved notices only the self. And I was thinking about looking at some videos of people, in one case, kissing the shoes of a very bizarre group of black men who were demanding that white people kiss their shoes. And another one where somebody is told that somebody's from Black Lives Matter. I don't think they were. It was probably an imposter. But, would you kneel, please? And I was thinking about all the bizarre things that have to do with knees at the moment. Like, okay, Game of Thrones, as my friend Douglas Murray points out, put the concept of bend the knee into the world. There's a concept of Colin Kaepernick taking the knee. There's obviously a sexual connotation to knees. You kneel before the queen when you're being knighted. You may kneel together in common prayer. You kneel when you're alone and asking something from the Creator. And somehow, I think this is incredibly weird. And I think it's also incredibly disturbing. And so what I keep wanting to ask is, are we looking for equality? I have always thought that racial equality, sexual equality, various kinds of equality were really important. Either we are looking for it or we aren't. If we are looking for it, allow me to say the following. I may get on my knees with you if we are both moved in a moment. But if you ask ever for me to get on my knees before you, you've just killed all hope of equality. And I was thinking about the idea of, would I as a Jewish person ever want a German person to kneel before me and kiss my shoes? And the thought is, like, it doesn't even come up in my mind. It makes me sick to my stomach. This concept of allyship and whiteness and anti-blackness is a mind trap. It's a really dangerous idea, and it's going to destroy the project that so many of us have been working on for forever, which is, how do we get a decent country in which the color of one's skin is no bar, and that we can be positive about who we are. And I think that what's going on is that we are in a worldwide shame fetish. You know, we're talking about slut shaming and fat shaming, and every kind of possible shame imaginable is trading at a premium. And dignity is trading at a deep discount. So I want to leave you guys with a thought, and then I want you to follow me over to Instagram, and maybe we can talk about it, which would be great, where I'm Eric R. Weinstein at Instagram. But are we in the middle of something where some of us feel so guilty that we're really kind of weirdly getting off on humbling ourselves before other people who feel so oppressed that they want to oppress others? And I don't think this is the modal situation. I don't think the average person in the street is looking for this. But I think there's a ton of this, and we saw this at Evergreen State where my brother was. Go back and look at the videos and tell me that there isn't some very weird way in which the president of Evergreen State College wasn't the fetishistic accomplice of the students who were rioting. And what do we do to bring up all of our dignity, and without this kind of obscenity of parasitizing the responsibility that we all feel? I feel tremendous responsibility for people who are discriminated against, and I think it's part of my best nature. And it's very important that nobody parasitize or weaponize my best instincts towards responsibility. So I'll leave you with one thought. Try to be responsible and be very thoughtful and caring when somebody tells you that you haven't examined all of the ways in which you may benefit from a system that somebody else suffers from. I think that's entirely reasonable. The instant it turns into, I've brought food for Chinese people only, or I've brought chairs only for black people, or we have special contributions for women who own stores, like nobody else. When it gets to that point, instill in yourselves some kind of revulsion, because that's going to undo the project that we've all been a part of. And quite frankly, the people who are looking for this, either because they're dying to get down on their knees, or because they demand that somebody else get down on their knees, or the idea is that some people have it coming because they look like other people who are horrible. These people are going to undo a national project. And this is a long project for which many people have suffered, many people have worked, and many people have died. And quite frankly, it's not up to them to undo it, because it belongs to all of us. And so my feeling about this is a modest amount of responsibility is worth a great deal more than an oppressive amount and a self-extinguishing amount of performative guilt meant to convey that you're willing to destroy your own dignity at the drop of a hat because you do understand that other people have had things in life worse than you. So, over to Instagram, coming up on 10 minutes. Thanks very much. I'm just getting my 10,000 steps. And for those of you who will complain that I'm not using a selfie stick, at least I'm in landscape rather than portrait. I do listen to you guys, but I'm also not going to do everything perfectly. So, thank you guys very much. Eric R. Weinstein over at Instagram, and I'll try to take some questions and talk to you guys. And stay safe. Look out for your fellow man, and don't give up on equality. And you can't pursue equality and groveling at the same time from either side of the fence. Be well.